vanished after confession. Her journal told the real story. Autumn Hayes wasn't supposed to go missing. She was 23, a college senior, social work major, soft-spoken, obsessed with helping others. Her Instagram feed was filled with quotes about healing trauma, mental health awareness, and quiet selfies from her dorm window. But 3 nights before she disappeared, she posted something different. Just text. No photo. I lied. I can't carry it anymore. I told them everything. Posted at 2:12 a.m. Deleted by 2:19. Her friends brushed it off. She was under stress, midterms coming, emotional. Nothing new, but her roommate, Jamie, noticed a change. Autumn hadn't eaten all day. She was jumpy, checking the peephole every time they heard footsteps in the hallway, whispering on the phone behind closed doors. Jamie only caught part of one conversation. I did what you asked. I told them. You said I'd be safe. 2 nights later, Autumn didn't come home. Her bed was untouched. Phone gone, but her laptop was still open on her desk. An unsent email on the screen, written to a professor. If anything happens to me, it wasn't random. I want you to find the black notebook under my bed. Police called it voluntary disappearance. Said she might have run off with a guy. But Jamie insisted something was wrong. And then she found the notebook, tucked beneath a loose board under Autumn's bed, wrapped in an old hoodie. The cover was plain black leather. No name, no date, but inside it was everything. Each page was dated, labeled, and disturbing. Autumn had been meeting with a client outside of campus hours. A young girl named Eva, 14, part of an outreach mentorship program. Eva had confessed she was being abused, but the name she gave wasn't apparent. It wasn't even someone in her home. It was a retired state trooper, a family friend, a man named Raymond Culler. Autumn wrote about gun authorities, a school therapist, then a local officer. She said no one followed up. She started to fear she was being watched. Her journal detailed cars with out-of-state plates parking outside her dorm. Strange calls from block numbers. One entry read, "He left a photo in my mailbox." It was of Eva, but she had a black eye. And under it in Sharpie, "You were warned." Jamie turned the journal over to police. The detective assigned, Lila Brandt, began reviewing the case. But 3 days into the investigation, Eva's foster family reported her missing too, gone from her bedroom window. No forced entry. Her backpack, shoes, and phone still inside. The town went quiet. Autumn's family begged the press to help. The university issued statements. But the case was buried by noise. Then, 1 week later, Jamie got a letter in the mail. No return address. Just a single photograph inside. It was Autumn, bruised, bound at the wrists, sitting in what looked like a warehouse. Her eyes were open, but hollow, empty, and on the back of the photo, handwritten in black marker, "We warned her. Now you shut up." The photo changed everything. Jamie handed it to Detective Brandt immediately. The warehouse in the background, exposed beams, rusted chains hanging from the ceiling, concrete walls stained with what looked like oil, wasn't familiar. No address, no sign of when it was taken. The photo was real. Forensics confirmed it. And the bruises on Autumn's face? Fresh, maybe a day old. But there was something else no one noticed at first. A calendar in the far corner. It was circled in red ink. The date was October 14th. That was tomorrow. Brandt pushed the department into overdrive. Missing persons became possible abduction. Amber alerts were updated. A task force formed. But as they dug into Raymond Culler, they found something that stopped them cold. There were no charges, no complaints, no records linking him to Autumn, Eva, or even to the university. His official file read, like a decorated career, retired in 2019 with honors, public service awards, letters of recommendation. His photo hung in a local diner next to firefighters and soldiers. But when Brandt dug deeper, searching court filings, property holdings, a different man emerged. Culler owned 5 properties under different LLC names. 2 were storage units. One was a ranch-style home in rural Kentucky. One they couldn't locate at all, just listed as Parcel 7B, utility access only. She got a warrant for the ranch. It was empty. Clean. Too clean. Bleach fumes still hung in the air, even though no one had officially lived there for over 2 years. In the basement, they found hooks embedded into the cement wall, a stained mattress, chains, and a fingernail. DNA confirmed it. Eva's. The case exploded. News stations picked it up. Social media turned it viral. Hashtags demanding justice. Photos of Autumn and Eva shared everywhere. But then, just as suddenly, the coverage died. Posts were shadow banned. Hashtags stopped trending. One of the reporters investigating the case, Zach Duvall, went silent mid-thread. And that night, Jamie's apartment was broken into. Nothing was stolen, except for Autumn's second journal, the one she hadn't turned over yet, the one she had kept hidden behind the lining of her suitcase. The next morning, Jamie found a USB drive slipped under her door. It had no label, just a single file, a security camera recording. The footage showed a man in a black tactical jacket and gloves walking into a back alley door of a building downtown. He had Eva with him. She looked drugged, unconscious. Timestamp, last night, 2:36 a.m. Jamie recognized the building. It was a back entrance to a rehab center on 5th and Walker Street, owned by one of Color's shell companies. They rushed the tape to Brandt, who pulled the center's permits and fire exit records. But that same night, the entire rehab building burned to the ground. Fire investigators couldn't confirm a cause, but someone left a message on the smoldered side of the brick wall, scorched into the surface with accelerant. Ask again, and the next one dies on camera. The fire was ruled arson, but there was no surveillance left, no witnesses, and nothing to prove Eva had ever been inside. Only the USB drive remained, and even that vanished from the evidence room 2 days later. Jamie refused to back down. She went back to Autumn's apartment, desperate for anything the journal might have mentioned. She tore through drawers, flipped mattresses, scanned receipts. Then she found it, slipped behind the bathroom mirror, taped to the back of the panel. A second flash drive, one Autumn had labeled, "For Jamie, if they come." Inside were voice memos. Autumn sounded frightened, but clear. In one file, dated 4 days before her disappearance, she whispered, "Eva told me something about color, something about the tapes. Not the ones we found, the ones they buried. There's more." She said he wasn't working alone. Another file, "They're not just watching me. They're watching all of us. Jamie, if you hear this, leave town. They don't care who gets buried. And if they find this, it's already too late." And then silence. Her last recording was just 3 seconds of muffled breath and a slam. Brand took the drive, but when she ran the metadata, her computer crashed. The tech team tried recovering the files, but the drive had embedded malware that wiped not just its contents, but every copy of the original journal Jamie had saved to cloud. Someone had anticipated this. Someone was inside the investigation. Brandt called in a favor from Quantico. A contact, Agent Eli Mathers, quietly started looking into the case under an internal pretext. And what he found? A DHS memo, heavily redacted, flagged both Autumn and Eva months before their disappearance. Their names were tied to an off-the-books program buried under Department 17, a decommissioned psychological warfare experiment from the 1990s. The name of the project? Operation Lantern. Publicly, it never existed, but privately, it was rumored to involve selective behavior, conditioning through trauma-controlled environments. Eva's therapist, her journals, the bruises, the tapes, they were never random. Then Jamie got a text from an unknown number. "You want answers? Look in the storage unit on Alpine and 12th. Ask for Unit 419. Go alone." Brandt warned her not to go, but Jamie had lost too much already. Autumn, Eva, her career, and now the truth. She parked at the storage facility just before dusk. The air smelled like motor oil and metal. Unit 419 was in the far corner, padlocked, but taped to the outside was a key and a note. "Inside lies everything you need to understand. Don't open the box until you're ready." She pulled up the unit door. Inside, a single gray filing cabinet and a locked trunk. She opened the cabinet first. folders, dozens of them, each one stamped with names. Some were familiar, Eva's, Autumn's, her own, but others, names of people who were never reported missing, never even suspected. Every file included surveillance photos, psychological assessments, even recorded phone calls. Then she opened the trunk. Inside, a child's shoe burned, a hospital wristband labeled C. Tanner, a necklace she'd seen once on Autumn, and a black notebook wrapped in plastic. It wasn't Autumn's handwriting. The first page read, "I did what they told me. I kept quiet. I obeyed, but they never let me leave. And now I'm the last one left. If you're reading this, it means they found Jamie too." Jamie sat on the floor of Unit 419, the black notebook trembling in her hands. Each page peeled back another layer of something far worse than she had imagined. Not just a cover-up, not just government neglect, but intentional manipulation. The notebook belonged to Casey Tanner, a name that hadn't appeared anywhere else. A girl, 11 years old. The wristband in the trunk was hers. Her file was missing from the cabinet, but the notebook filled the gaps. Casey had written everything. About the sessions, about being taken from a youth shelter after her mother overdosed, about a place called the Echo Wing, where kids were subjected to psychological experiments disguised as therapy. Electric shocks, forced isolation, exposure to violent imagery, repetition, control, and Autumn had been there too. A single line written in red ink repeated throughout the notebook. He wears the blue tie. He watches through the mirror. Jamie copied the contents, photographed everything, and fled. She knew she was being watched, and within 24 hours, she was proven right. The files from her laptop were wiped again. Her apartment was broken into. Nothing stolen, just disturbed. A glass tipped over. A closet door left ajar. A single sheet of paper on her bed. Stop digging, or you'll end up like them. Agent Eli Mathers tried running Casey's name through DHS archives. It triggered a security lockout. 3 days later, he was placed on administrative leave without explanation. But before he disappeared, he sent Jamie one final email. No subject, no text. Just one attachment. A map. It showed 5 states, each one marked with multiple pins. Cities, dates, and initials. Some crossed out, others circled. Jamie and Brant went through everyone. Over 40 names. Children, teens, and young adults, all reported as either suicides, runaways, or unconfirmed missing persons. Every single one had some documented history of mental illness or trauma. Every single one had ties to suspended government youth programs, private psychiatric institutions, or experimental learning clinics. The deeper they looked, the more connections surfaced. A closed school in Colorado Springs, a hospital wing in Baltimore, a religious restoration compound in rural Idaho. Different states, different years, same overseer, same project, same symbol. A black circle with a single vertical slash, stamped on the final page of Casey's notebook. Jamie took everything to a contact in the press, a journalist who had once reported on MKUltra documents leaked in 1977. He agreed to meet. But the day before their interview, he was found dead in a motel outside D.C. Official cause, heart attack. Unofficial cause, he'd been emailing encrypted drafts of Jamie's findings to a secondary backup server. The files were recovered, but corrupted, all except one, a blurry image. It showed a man standing in front of a two-way mirror. Blue tie, white lab coat, clipboard in hand. His face was mostly shadow, but Brant recognized him. From the old DHS memos, from Eva's files. His name was never printed, but every file marked with a black slash, he signed them all. And on the back of the recovered photo, someone had written in ink, "He's still alive, and he's looking for her." Jamie hadn't slept in 2 days. She was moving from place to place. No phones, no digital trails. She'd gotten rid of her laptop, switched cars 3 times, and was sleeping in public spaces surrounded by crowds. Brant was off-grid, too. He'd disappeared after confirming that the man in the photo, the one with the blue tie, was once known inside a classified mental health operation as Dr. Ives. No first name, no personnel record, but dozens of reports signed L. Ives across multiple black site youth rehabilitation programs. What connected all the dots? Eva Jennings. Brand had found something, an unredacted copy of Eva's original DHS intake interview. Her story matched Casey Tanner's almost word for word. The electric room, the repetition therapy, the symbol, the circle with a vertical slash. But what changed everything was this. Eva had mentioned Jamie's name. Not once, 3 times. She had written it in pencil at the bottom of a questionnaire. Tell Jamie I didn't mean to disappear. They made me forget, but I remember now. The form was dated 7 months before Eva's suicide, which means Eva may have tried to reach out, even before the viral confession video. That confession may not have been a breakdown. It may have been a message. Brandt shared another discovery before vanishing. A package mailed from Prague, Czech Republic. No return address. It had been sitting in a P.O. box connected to one of Eva's aliases, and inside, a flash drive, one folder, labeled Memoria Project. Jamie accessed the files in an internet cafe in Chicago. Her hands shook as she clicked through footage after footage. Interviews with children, voiceover logs, scripts being read to kids in hospital beds. Trauma response sequences repeated over and over. Experiments masked as therapy. Some of the footage was filmed in clinics that didn't exist on any map. And then, in one of the recordings, a voice. You are safe now. You will speak only when spoken to. You will forget. You will return as instructed. Jamie froze. It was Eva, reading the script, wearing a white coat. She was staff, but she didn't look like herself. She looked drugged, blank, a hollow version of the girl Jamie knew. Brand had been right. Eva hadn't just been a victim. She had been turned into one of them. But it didn't last. The last file in the folder was a surveillance feed. Eva, standing outside a file room. She looks into the camera, then looks at a young girl sitting beside her. The timestamp read June 10th, 2023, long after her supposed death. Eva's alive, and she's protecting someone. But before Jamie could finish watching the file, the cafe lost power. Everything gone. When she stepped outside, a black van idled near the corner. 2 men in plain clothes got out. Jamie ran. She got away that night. Barely. But when she finally reached out to Brand again, using a burner phone, someone else answered. A deep voice. No background noise. It said just 5 words. He has her now, Jamie. Then silence. Jamie didn't go home. She couldn't. Her apartment had been broken into. Not ransacked, just subtly disturbed. Her couch cushions were zipped open. Her closet light was on. One of the vents had been unscrewed and put back in place. Whoever was watching her wanted her to know they'd been inside. The voice on the phone haunted her. He has her now, Jamie. She didn't call Brand again. Instead, she flew to Portland, the last known location of someone else who had once been at the same therapeutic facility Eva was sent to in 2015. Her name was Claire Renner, and she had vanished from the public eye after being discharged. Jamie found her in the woods, off-grid, living under a different name. At first, Claire refused to speak. But when Jamie mentioned the word Memoria, Claire turned pale. No one is supposed to remember that name, she whispered. That's the whole point. They take the memory away. But sometimes pieces bleed through. Claire described dreams she'd had for years, of a hallway with metal walls, of fluorescent lights that never turn off, of a woman named Eva who whispered at night through the vents. That's when Jamie showed her the photo. Eva, in a lab coat, holding a clipboard, her face blank. Claire broke down. She was one of them, but she helped me escape. Jamie leaned in. Escape from what? Claire took a long breath, then pulled out something from under her mattress. A photo. There were 4 children. One of them was Claire. Another was unmistakably Eva. The third, a boy named Tom she didn't recognize. But it was the 4th child that made Jamie's heart stop. A girl, maybe 10 years old, curly dark hair, A birthmark under her left eye. It was Jamie. Claire didn't say it outright. She didn't have to. Jamie had been part of the program. She had blocked it out, forgotten it, just like they'd intended. But Eva had remembered, and Eva had spent the last year trying to remind her. Every file, every breadcrumb, every message. Claire told her something else. The Memoria Project didn't just aim to erase trauma. It aimed to reprogram memory, to rewrite identities, to test loyalty implants using psychological triggers. And the most successful subjects were those who never knew they'd been part of it. Jamie felt like the floor had dropped from beneath her. Her own life, her decisions, her choices, her past, might have been sculpted by something else. But before she could ask more, Claire went still. Eyes focused past Jamie. A red laser hovered over Claire's shoulder. Jamie dove. A shot cracked the air. Claire collapsed. Blood pooled fast. Jamie didn't look back. She grabbed Claire's photo, Claire's bag, and ran for the woods. Somehow, they'd found them again. By morning, Claire was pronounced dead. Apparent suicide, the report read. Jamie knew it was a lie. But what haunted her most wasn't the gunshot. It was a handwritten note in Claire's bag, addressed to Jay. It said, "If you're reading this, then you remember more than they wanted. The photo isn't just a memory. It's a map. Follow the girl with the scar." There was no scar on the girl in the photo, unless Jamie pulled out a mirror and ran her finger under her left eye. The faint shadow of a laser-removed birthmark. For more chilling crime, don't forget to like and subscribe.